So the correct answer is E. Did you get that? This is a really cool demonstration of the fact that we can see different things so often. We can encounter them so many times in our real life, but not actually encode them, not actually remember what they even look like. This is an effect that you can see with drawing a penny, if you've ever tried to remember what a penny looks like. Um, it's fascinating, right? So this is what we're going to talk about today. Here's a general outline of what we're going to do. Our main focus of this lecture is going to be on the types of memory, and then we'll go into how they're organized, how we retrieve and forget, and lastly, stick around for some study tips, because there's some pretty cool research into how to best improve your memory. Starting off with a basic introduction. So what is memory? Memory is the ability to retain knowledge. So memory exists as part of this continuum of information processing, going all the way from the bottom, just basic level attention, to when you start to sense things, you perceive it, you learn what it is, you remember what it is, you think about it, and you can solve problems with it. Now, if you remember from the sensation and perception lecture, this could also be a top-down process. So this arrow goes both ways. So there are many components to this kind of information processing, and memory is one of them. Now, there are three main steps involved in memory. The first is encoding, which is transforming that information from one form to another. I like to kind of think of memory as a computer kind of analogy. So if you think of encoding, it could be like you having some idea in your head or some concept you want to write down, and then you type it in order to transform it into text on your screen. So it's transforming information from one form to another. The second step is storage, and this is how you retain that information. So you can think of, in our computer analogy, this would be like if you're typing up a document and you hit save on your computer, you store it into a file saved on your computer somewhere. And then lastly, you got to be able to get that information back out of storage. So retrieval is when you recover that stored information, you take it back out again. So this would be like if you're looking at your computer file system and you're trying to search and you're trying to find where that information is that you stored. So maybe kind of use this analogy of a computer to help you think about the steps of memory. Now, this is a model that tells us how we classically are thinking about the different steps and how the steps play together. So this is called the Atkinson-Shiffrin model of memory. And this model proposes that information moves through these series of stages. So we're going to start with general sensory input. It's going to become a sensory memory, which we'll talk about in more detail. If you attend to that information, it'll enter your short-term memory. And if you encode it, if you spend a lot of effort to really store it in your mind, it'll enter into long-term memory. So let's talk about each of these steps in turn real quick.